Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call the next speaker to the stage now. She is the VP and General Manager of the Cyber Division at the Israel Aerospace Industries. Welcome to the stage, Esti Peshin.
Thank you for staying here for my brief speech. I'm going to speak a little bit about the new cyber reality, or why cyber resilience is a master key for cybersecurity. By way of introduction, my name is Esti Peshin. I'm Vice President and General Manager of the Cyber Division of Israel Aerospace Industries. We have a nice booth on the outside here, and you are more than welcome to visit us during the recess or during any time of the day. We are here until the evening. So, cyber is a strategic threat. We're seeing various, I'm going to say, paradigm changes in cybersecurity in the past few years. And I'm going to speak about two new strategic trends. First and foremost, we are seeing an increase, an augmentation in attacks against supply chain. So basically, the bad guys are utilizing our supply chain in order to attack us. And even more so, they are accompanying these attacks by media campaigns. So a very minor attack can become augmented, can become extremely significant due to the fact that it is accompanied by a lot of media noise, by disrupting the way the reputation of the company is seen by the public. Now, the coronavirus changed the way we do business. We are operating more online. I mean, even part of this conference is being done online. It's so great to be here on stage. I think this is the first time I'm on stage in Israel for more than a year. So it's amazing to be here and to see you live. But we're still doing most of this conference online. And we are conducting our business significantly more online than we used to do in the past. And this means we are even more prone to threats than we used to be in the past. So again, the bad guys are aware of this and are utilizing this to their advantage. Now, I think the most important thing that I would like to say in this introductory part is that we are experiencing a radical change in the cyber arena. Okay? We are seeing, for example, attacks on the healthcare system in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, this is extremely cynical. The bad guys are attacking organizations that are set to save the world, so to speak, to save our lives. And they're still attacking them. We have seen a cyber attack which caused people in the US to stand in line in gas stations. Okay? A shortage of gas. So there's an escalation in the type of cyber attacks. And this is a radical change that we are experiencing today. Now, we always say that we cannot solve problems with the same sort of thinking that we used when we created them. So today I'm going to speak about what we perceive as a different approach to cybersecurity, or what we refer to as the master key for cybersecurity, for national level cybersecurity. So first, let me repeat the mantra that we always mention during these conferences, that when we are speaking about national-grade cyber challenges, we need national-grade solutions. Now, there are a host of cybersecurity technologies out there, but when we are talking about national-grade challenges, we need national-grade solutions. And these solutions comprise of 5 elements. First and foremost, state-of-the-art technology. Now, here in Israel, we have a host of amazing technology. It's so heartwarming to see the startup lane outside in the main arena of this building. Each and every day, there are new startups, new cybersecurity technologies. But technology on its own is not enough. We need effective methodology on how to use the technology in order to be able to combat cyber threats. We need constant innovation because our strength lies in our ability to predict the changes in the cyber world. The cyber arena is changing. The networks are changing. The technologies are changing. The threats are changing. We need to constantly innovate in order to evolve our solutions to meet these new threats. Collaboration is king. The good guys need to come together in order to combat together cyber threats. Now, today, Prime Minister Bennett spoke about a global collaboration or taking CyberNet to the next level. I'm extremely proud to share with you all that the original CyberNet was developed by IAI. We're extremely proud of this system, of this development that created a significant strength in the collaboration here in Israel. And finally, capacity buildup, training, awareness, making sure that the weakest link, the human, is cyber aware. It practices cyber hygiene, understands the arena in which we operate, and protects himself at the individual level, at the enterprise level, at the critical infrastructure level, and of course at the government level. Now, there has been, I would say, a shift in the cybersecurity arena. Initially, we hardened our networks. We hardened the targets. Subsequently, we tried to mitigate risks. And then we transformed to, thank you. Should I hold it? Thank you. And then we transformed to cyber resilience. So initially, we spoke about cyber resilience of a specific target, of a specific network. But today, we're speaking about cyber resilience of an ecosystem. And this goes back to what I previously mentioned. We spoke about supply chain attacks. If we want to have a resilient network, a resilient organization, a resilient country, we need to make sure that the entire ecosystem is resilient. Because otherwise, the weakest link would lie in our supply chain. The weakest link would lie in our human beings. So the real challenge that we perceive today is the balance between cybersecurity on one hand and business continuity on the other hand. So we can add more and more and more cyber controls in order to be able to protect our networks, in order to be able to make them more resilient, in order to make the ecosystem more resilient. But if we do not pursue a pragmatic approach that takes into account business continuity, well, eventually people won't deploy these cybersecurity controls. So this balance is extremely, extremely crucial. Now, when we are looking at the ingredients of cyber resilience, we see 6 ingredients. First and foremost, the ecosystem approach. I spoke about this earlier. The human resource, capacity buildup, training and awareness campaigns, operational capabilities. There are basically 3 operational capabilities that you need to take into account when you develop a resilient network or a resilient ecosystem. First and foremost, monitoring, detecting anomalies. Today, in the face of subtle cyber attacks, anomalies are the name of the game. If you see an anomaly, if you identify it as a potential cyber attack, well, you can mitigate the consequences of the attack. You need mitigation capabilities. Okay, so an attack is happening, is imminent, has happened. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? And I will speak about playbooks in a moment, but you need the ability, the preliminary ability to mitigate the consequences of the potential cyber attack, of the cyber attack that is happening. And finally, you need forensics. You need the ability to analyze the cyber attack, to understand what happened, and to deploy the proper countermeasures. Then you need a zero tolerance approach. Now, zero tolerance is widely used in the industry for various aspects. Here, I'm speaking about zero tolerance in the face of potential cyber attacks. If it looks like a cyber attack, if it walks like a cyber attack, then it probably is a cyber attack. So zero tolerance, investigate everything that may indicate a cyber attack. So you need very, very good controls. You need very, very good monitoring capabilities in order to be able to detect these potential attacks. But when you do, investigate them, because they may mean an imminent and a very drastic cyber attack in view of the paradigm change I spoke about earlier. You need executive responsibility and leadership. Okay. The managers, the generals, the heads of state, the parliament members need to be cyber aware. If they're not cyber aware, well, your country will be cyber attacked. Your organization will be cyber attacked. Your children will be cyber attacked. Everyone needs to be aware. Everyone needs to take responsibility. And finally, be prepared. You need the playbooks in place. You need to try and determine in advance how a cyber attack will look and what you should do about it. Now, keep in mind that eventually when a cyber attack does happen, it will not follow any of your predetermined playbooks. In most cases, it will be extremely different than what you perceived. But the fact that you have playbooks in place will allow you to a starting point from which you will be able to improvise and to handle the cyber attack. IAI, and we have a booth outside, is a gateway to Israel's innovation and ecosystem. We had two major Israeli cyber consortium. The Israeli Cyber Companies Consortium, which is a consortium today comprising of 13 companies developing and deploying national level cyber solutions around the world. We basically develop INCDs, National Cyber Directorates, for nation states around the world, mostly developing countries, and I will show you something about this in a moment. We also had the Israeli Aviation Cyber Companies Consortium, IACCC, which is a consortium that is focused on developing cyber solutions for the commercial aviation ecosystem. I'm sure that we are all concerned from the day where a cyber attack against an airplane will result in a catastrophic event. We need to have these solutions in place. And just yesterday, here at Cyber Week, we launched the Israeli Center for Cybersecurity for Smart Mobility, or smart transportation, if you will. This center was launched in the presence of the Minister of Transportation in Israel, Mrs. Merav Michaeli, the Director General of the National Cyber Directorate, Mr. Yigal Luna. We also had the CEO of Ayalon Highways, who is leading this effort on behalf of the Ministry of Transportation, and the CEO of Elta Systems, a group and subsidiary of IAI, of Israel Aerospace Industries. And we had our 4 amazing partners. We are doing this in a consortium together with Alstom, with IBI, Canadian company, Enigmatus, an Israeli company focused on cybersecurity solutions for smart mobility, and finally the Ben-Gurion University, which I do not need to present. We had all these amazing people here, and we launched together the Cyber Center, which aims to provide cybersecurity solutions for smart mobility. Israel is going to be a leader in this arena thanks to this center that was launched just here yesterday. If I may, one brief sentence. Okay, so when we speak to nation states about cybersecurity and capacity buildup, today we are competing against other concerns. Some of them extremely important concerns like fighting the pandemic, like the healthcare system, like education. And our message to nation states out there, especially in developing countries, is that cybersecurity can move the needle on your GDP. If you establish a cyber center, if you accompany it with a capacity build-up capabilities, if you develop cyber experts within your country, these cyber experts can provide services around the world, and cyber can eventually move the needle on your GDP. Cybersecurity is an economical enabler, and this is why it should be pursued in each and every country, including developing countries around the world. So, to briefly sum up, we're seeing a radical change today. We believe cyber resilience is the master key to modern cybersecurity, to combat this radical change. Innovation is an enabler to a safer cyber world. We see strategic threats. We see a need for a holistic cyber defense approach. And finally, we need to strike a balance between cybersecurity and business continuity. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my remarks. thank you very much, and I'm sure that Manny is coming on stage to grill me with a few questions.
Yes, I'm coming on stage. I have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Are you surprised by that?
Well, I am. Do you have an interesting question?
The question is a regular question, but you have to answer with rhymes.
With rhymes,
yeah. You have to rhyme the answer. Okay, what are some strategic changes in the cyber threat faces by nation states, and what nation states should do to improve their cyber resilience in order to counter these threats?
Okay, so let's start with understanding what nation states are facing today. So in the past, we have been seeing about 1 report a day, 2 reports a day about a cyber attack. Today, we're seeing more than that. And today, I think the most important element is that we are seeing severe cyber attacks that have severe consequences. And I mentioned the healthcare system. Now, come on, how cynical can you get? I mean, the healthcare system is helping everyone combat the pandemic. So who is audacious enough to cyber attack it? Now, we are seeing supply chain attacks, and these are borderless attacks. So an attack against a provider, a software provider, hardware provider, somewhere in the world can impact the entire global ecosystem. Now, what should nation states do? Well, first and foremost, they should pursue cyber resilience, ecosystem resilience. Now, if I would be presumptuous enough to recommend the first step, well, the first step would be cyber awareness campaigns. Each and every one of us should become more and more cyber aware. And Manny, with your permission, let me give you a brief example.
Yes,
okay?
Please do.
And let's give an example that pertains to each and every one of us. Now, I know that the audience here are cyber savvy people, but feel free to use this example with your friends and family. Okay, let me explain the difference between cybersecurity and cyber resilience. Now, each and every one of us has our own personal computer at home, right? Now, one day we can wake up and see a ransomware alert on our personal computer. It basically says, okay, if you want your files back, you need to pay so-and-so bitcoins. In some cases, you will pay the bitcoins. In some cases, you won't. In some cases, you will pay the bitcoins and never see your computer again. In some cases, you will. Well, it's kind of the realm of the unknown. Now, a cybersecurity approach would be to install a firewall and an antivirus on your computer so that as and when your computer is attacked, well, it will mitigate the attack. In most cases, it will prevent it, but not in every case. A cyber resilience approach would be to protect your most important asset on your personal computer, which is the photos of your children or your grandchildren, and to back them up somewhere. Best not to a connected disk, because this will be the same ecosystem. Somewhere in the cloud, a disconnected disk. And then when you wake up and you see this ransomware message on your computer, well, you say, go and do something to yourself and format the computer. This is cyber resilience. This is the approach each and every one of us should pursue. And the first thing governments should do is to teach us how to pursue cyber resilience.
Perfect. Esti, as always, you have such a wonderful insights, and the way you convey it is also great. Thank you so much for being here, and we really hope to have you again next year.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to being here next year, and please do come visit us at the IAI booth just outside this hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.